Let's take you outside right now. Here's a live look from the Marshals Museum in Fort Smith. And Stephen, we're not seeing any ice out there yet, but it is pretty cold.
Yeah, cold out there. The hope is that we continue to see no ice. Right now, the chances overall are very low. I think most of us are going to see that cold rainfall, but some of us are going to mix in some of that freezing rain, mainly across northwest Arkansas has the best chance for that. Even just a little bit of that, though, can cause some problems. That's why we already have that winter weather advisory across parts of Johnson County heading into the afternoon. I will not be surprised if we see more counties added across northwest Arkansas throughout the day today ahead of that potential freezing rain that comes overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. Now, when we take a look at those current temperatures for this afternoon, reaching up eventually into those low to mid 40s. Now, by the time we get to this evening, though, that's when we start to see temperatures drop, of course, but overnight tonight, we're going to be hovering right around the freezing point, especially across northwest Arkansas, and that's what's going to lead to the potential of maybe starting to see some of that freezing rain mixing in. There's very small margins between who's going to see that cold rainfall and who's going to see some of that freezing rain. And it's important to remember, this is first of two rounds it's going to be coming through. First one's coming in overnight tonight into Tuesday morning, another one on Wednesday morning. Both majority of it is going to be that cold rainfall with mixing in some of that chance of some of that freezing rain. So let's take a look at that first system that's coming through. This comes in by the time we get to Monday evening, starting to see those scattered showers across the area, but we start to see some of that pink start to mix in there. That's part of across Johnson County, starting to see maybe the chances of some light freezing rain mixing in there. I think especially overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, that's where we're going to have the low chance of seeing some of that freezing rain starting to pop up across northwest Arkansas. But again, just a little bit could cause some travel issues for tomorrow morning's commute, especially if temperatures get a little bit cooler and drop more close towards that freezing point, if not below it. So again, the greatest concern is going to be parts of northwest Arkansas, especially highlighting Carroll and Madison County, parts of northern Johnson County, but parts of Benton, parts of Washington also have a chance of seeing some of that freezing rain starting to mix in. Of course, that would make those roads a little bit slick outside. The best overall accumulation that we could have, the worst case scenario, I think would be up to around a tenth, maybe up to a quarter inch of that ice. That's the high end potential. The low end potential of what I think we're generally looking at is just a thin glaze of some patchy ice across the area heading into tomorrow morning. Sure, it could cause some slowdowns for tomorrow, but overall, I think a majority of us see that cold rainfall with this a mix of some of that freezing rain in there as well. Another thing to remember, though, is that next system that comes in by the time we get to Wednesday morning. That's going to be another system that brings mainly cold rainfall, but another scenario that we would see the chances for some freezing rain mixing in there as well, again, across northwest Arkansas. Minor impacts expected from both systems, but if we start to see that change, that's what could cause some of those travel conditions to start to deteriorate. We take a look at Wednesday, another situation with cold rainfall across the area, but by the time we get to that coldest point of the day, right in the morning hours, that's where we could see some of that freezing rain mixing in there in the same area. Another situation where Carroll, Madison, parts of Johnson into parts of northwest Arkansas could see more of that freezing rain before that rain pushes out of here and we're finally done with the chances for that wintry mix. That wintry mix chances for Wednesday again looks across mainly northwest Arkansas, parts of the River Valley, mainly northern Johnson, northern Franklin, in some higher elevation will have the best chances of seeing minor effects from that wintry mix. The rest of us just seeing another round of some very cold rainfall. Northwest Arkansas over the next 7 days looks like this. Weather impact alert for us on Tuesday and Wednesday because of the chances of some freezing rain. Now, we've mentioned it. Overall, the chances look low, but even just a little bit of that freezing rain or some of that sleet starting to mix in can cause those roads to deteriorate. So that's why we have that weather impact alert. Even if it's just a brief period, that's what could be very tricky outside for those morning commuters. Now, throughout most of the system, I think we're expecting some cold rainfall as temperatures may just stay above that freezing point across most of the area. Good news is we get a brief warm up for the end of the week until we get into the weekend. Across the River Valley, we're also going to hang on to a weather impact alert on Wednesday, not due to the chances of a widespread chance for any of that freezing rain, but because there is a small chance that we see some of that wintry mix start to mix in there, and that's what could quickly cause those roads to deteriorate. Again, reiterating the fact, most of it is cold rainfall. Some of it, though, could be some freezing rain, and just a little bit could be pretty tricky outside.
Sometimes when it rains before it freezes, it makes it even worse because you can't really pre-treat the roads.
Exactly.
So then the crews are going to be out there. So I know you'll be monitoring that.
Absolutely.